Did you know humans almost went extinct the moment we appeared? About 2.8 million years ago, the very first of our kind, Homo habilis, emerged in Africa. They weren't stronger than predators. They couldn't outrun gazelles. And they had no weapons. Population? Maybe just a few thousand. Total. One long drought. One unknown disease. Or one hungry lion pride. And we'd be wiped out. Gone forever. So how did they survive? Not strength, not numbers, but observation. They watched the sky to predict rain, listened to birds to detect predators. And this sounds strange. They knew how to run in groups. They weren't good hunters, but they were brilliant at staying alive. And from those shaky barefoot steps, we began. If you think early humans were fearless hunters, charging through the wild with spears and clubs, you might be wrong. They weren't strong enough. They couldn't take down big animals. They didn't fight like heroes. What they were really good at was waiting. After the predators finished their feast, after the vultures picked through the mess, Homo habilis would quietly move in their hands, a sharp piece of stone, freshly broken from a rock. They didn't eat leftover meat. They went straight for the bone marrow. Big bones, hollow in the center, filled with thick, fatty marrow, pure survival fuel. They weren't hunting. They were dissecting, cutting, cracking, scraping, and always listening, ready to run at the first growl from the dark. Most people don't know this. The first tool marks ever found on animal bones aren't on the neck or belly. They're on the ends of leg bones, right where the marrow lives. They weren't warriors. They were survivors, armed with sharp stones and terrifying intelligence. Here's something that might surprise you. Early humans lived for hundreds of thousands of years without knowing how to make fire. No cooking, no boiling, no roasting. So, what did they eat? Raw meat, raw fat, raw organs. They would find a carcass, usually already torn apart by lions or hyenas, and dig their stone tools into it. The fresher, the better. But if it was a day old, they still ate it. Even the brain, especially the brain. Fatty, dense, full of energy. But that came with a price. They had huge jaws, massive teeth, and spent hours a day just chewing. Chewing roots, chewing tendon, chewing cold meat. It wasn't just eating. It was survival work. Fire would eventually change everything. It made food softer, cleaner, safer. But before fire, they ate what they could, when they could, and hoped it didn't kill them. At first glance, their hands looked like ours. 5 fingers, a thumb, skin, nails, bones. But if you looked closer, you'd see something strange. Their thumbs were stronger, wider, more precise. They could pinch, twist, grip stone just right, to strike it again and again until it chipped just the way they wanted. That changed everything, because once you can shape stone, you can shape tools. And once you use tools, your brain has to adapt. Studies show, as our ancestors used their hands more, their brains got smarter. The hand and the mind, they evolved together. Tool use lit up new areas in the brain. Movement became memory. Repetition became understanding. We weren't just reacting anymore. We were controlling. And the hand? It became more than a limb. It became a language, a tool, a beginning. From that first grip on a stone came everything we hold today. They had no words, no language, no names, not even sounds that meant yes or no. But somehow, they understood each other. How? They watched. Every move, every breath, every twitch had meaning. A glance toward the trees? Danger. A certain grunt? Follow me. A raised eyebrow. A clenched jaw. A hand raised midair. These were their sentences. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Enough to hunt together, to share food, to raise children. Some scientists believe we use gestures and facial expressions for millions of years before we ever spoke. And maybe that's why a baby today can understand a smile long before they understand a word. They didn't need speech to build connection. They needed attention. And maybe we've forgotten that. One night, the clouds cleared. The fire burned low, and someone looked up. For the first time, they really saw the sky. Not just stars, not just light, but patterns, movement, eyes. They didn't have a word for God, but they felt it. The moon followed them. The sun always came back. Thunder shook the ground when the animals fled. It felt like something was speaking, or warning, or watching. So they answered. They built circles from stone, stacked bones in special ways, danced when lightning struck, hummed to the night, not because they understood, but because they needed to. This wasn't religion, not yet, but it was belief that the world meant something, that they weren't just surviving, they were part of something bigger.